the higher self.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. I know you do a great job of taking care of Joanne's body. Is it okay if I ask questions?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I would like to know about the death of John Benet Ramsey. I've heard some rumors, and I'm just wondering if her parents were affiliated with the human traffickers.
It was an accident, and they did fumble and try to distract the incident that had happened. There was, it was a one-off situation. While we say that the father is not completely innocent of crimes against humanity, the situation with John Benet was an unfortunate event.
Can you tell me more about that? What exactly was her father doing?
See a torch.
A torch?
A torch.
What does the torch mean, do you think?
A
sense?
A torch to her head.
Oh. Oh, I see. Okay.
I feel like the father potentially was drinking and weed. I want to say he thought it was an intruder and then he hit her, but I feel like a whole lot of confusion happening at the same time.
Okay. Was he part of a human trafficking ring?
I don't think he was aware of it, but there was money exchanges, and maybe he was funneling the money, and so he may not have been 100% aware of the actual money, but he knew he was embezzling and helping embezzlement.
Oh, okay. But it wasn't, he didn't know.
Yeah, he didn't want to know. He was afraid that if he did, then it would hit his consciousness. He just cared about the money. He needed the money to provide the family with the customs that they wanted.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So you see it as an accident then?
Yes, I see it as we feel that the father was the person responsible for the death, but it is unclear if he was the one that gave her the final blow.
Oh, okay, but he was responsible in some way.
Yes, but it was an accident.
Okay.
It felt like they fumbled with, they knew she was there. The mother wrote the note. The grief and the guilt caused the mother to die from the cancer, from the grief of it all, and not being able to trust. So she held on to it. And the son is a scapegoat. The father finds it amusing that people think it's the son, but they don't want to look at the obvious other implications there.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Is there anything else that you would like to tell me about that? That seems interesting or important.
Jean comes in and she's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. It all happened for a reason. I'm okay.
What was the reason? What was the reason that it happened for?
There was another lifetime's event in the other past lifetime that I had with my parents. Other things happened, and this was just a learning step, and we needed to have this dynamic together to be able to connect and learn lessons from that. Daddy's not a bad man. Daddy is just trying to learn the lessons he needs to do for this lifetime. And unfortunately, because we got media coverage, because I was the poster girl for so many things, I was exploited because of my passion for having the attention. It was exhausting, and I was starting to not really enjoy the competition because my mother was so stressed about it, and it lost its fun very quickly. It was not as glamorous. I like to play and dress up, but it was too much.
It was too much.
It was too much.
Did you make a contract to pass in the way that you did?
Yes, it was to be able to help people question this industry, this entertainment industry. You know, we sexualize children, and it's we should be innocent children. We do not need to be having fake anything. It's taking away the natural beauty and the natural fun of childhood. It was to help other people really think hard about the importance that we have on beauty. There's so much that I can unpack here for you, but you all know the feeling that you had when you realized that there was this industry of little children being forced to perform for beauty and talent, when we all know humanity should not be judged on that.
Yes, thank you very much. Do you feel as if you did teach people this?
I can't teach people anything. I just want them to have this as maybe a learning lesson. People can choose what their emotional morals settle into. So I just want to say, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm with Mum. And see it from a bigger picture. And we don't want people to feel upset or angry or anything for us. Everything has got a purpose and a lesson, and we're okay.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you so very, very much. Can I please speak with Joanne's higher self again, please?
Yes.
Now that you did such a great job helping me with that question, I was wondering about Theresa Halbach. How did Theresa Halbach die?
It was in a shed, and there was 3 men. They had me tied up, and they were...
Did you know these men?
No.
Oh. How did they find you? Do you know?
I was driving, and there was a dog on the road. And I pulled over and helped this dog, and I didn't like to see the dog being hurt, but it was not hurt. And then there was 2 men in this truck that came on the other side of the road. I thought they were here to help me, and then they grabbed me, and then they pulled me inside. I was screaming, no one heard me.
Okay. So they pulled you inside their truck?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was 3 people, the driver. I only saw 2 people come out of the truck. So 2 people came to assist with the dog. There was a driver that I didn't see. I didn't notice because I was so upset about the dog.
Oh.
And then I was focusing on the dog, and I let my guard down because I was in shock for the dog. And then they came and grabbed me, and then they dragged me into the van.
Oh, they dragged you into the van. Do you know what the van looked like? Or what color the outside of it was?
brown, and then a darker brown, but then it had like a lighter panel, like a strip. It's kind of like what I would say like is a combination of what a station wagon car looks like with the paneling, but with this van had like, it makes no sense in design wise, but the panel was a lighter color, a strip, but it didn't match the parts of the van. So it's Joanne can see it and she can say what it looks like, but it's darker brown with a lighter tan strip.
And it's a van, like a utility type van or a different type of van?
Joanne would say it's like a courier van, but it's like a truck at the same time. We don't have those cars in New Zealand.
Okay. Okay. And what happened next after they put you in the van? Did they put you in the back or the front?
They threw me down and they held on to me and we sped off. And we didn't go very far. And when they were in the van, they put tape over my mouth and they started tying me up. And I started to go into shock and fear.
Oh, no. Could you see the men that were doing this to you? Could you see what they look like?
Yes.
How would you describe them?
Joanne has seen the man that I can see now, but she can't identify him.
She can't identify him?
She can't identify him.
Oh, it's someone she's seen before?
Yes.
On TV or something like that? Or where has she seen him before?
She has seen him in the TV, the Netflix documentary of Making Murder.
Oh, so does she know the name of him or what his name starts with?
I want to say Scott, but I don't know if that's his name, but I know that the younger man who is in jail for Theresa's death, it is his stepfather.
Oh, okay, okay. So he had him, so he was there. Were any of the other two people that are in jail now, were any of those people there? Oh.
No, but the younger man, he was aware that it happened, that there was something. He did stumble on my remains, but he didn't know it was me. I'm sure he's so simple. I don't know what he was thinking, but he was aware that my body remains were not on the property of Steve, the other man who has been charged for my murder. And it is my family.
How does it make you feel that?
Sorry, repeat.
Go ahead.
Sorry, repeat.
How do you feel that these people are charged for your murder that didn't do it?
Such a big conversation to have about this.
Well,
yes, I can say I feel sorry for Steve, and I still feel sorry for his family, the innocent people in his family. I feel sorry for all of the innocent people who have got caught up in this horrible web. I also feel immensely sorry and so sad for my family because they are struggling and they don't don't connect with me. And I'm here.
Why don't they connect with you?
They don't believe I'm here.
Oh, I see. What do you want them to know?
I'm okay. And I am with them. And let their heavy hearts give me sadness because I am here and I want them to connect with me. And I'm just so sorry that I have caused this. And this, what happened to me, has made their lives so extra harder. And while there are lessons there, right now my family is still struggling.
What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Through sessions like this.
Do you ever send them any kind of sign that you're okay?
I'm always around my mother, and I always want to embrace her because she has the heaviest heart. And then my siblings have anger, and they're focusing on all of the wrong reasons and issues. And I am there, and they can sense me, but then they think that they're just remembering me. It's just their conscious minds.
Oh, but it's not?
No, I am there for them, always, and they just need to think of me and I'm there. But they just think it's their thoughts, and they don't know and acknowledge that it's me there.
Can you tell me more about that?
I try to hold one of my sister's hands. I try to be there for her and comfort her. I see her with her children. And she's such a wonderful mother, but she's so scared that her children are going to be taken away from her because of what's happened to me. My whole family is in shelter shock, and they just can't trust anyone. I know that's a generalization, but they are still really scared. They have a very scared feeling that the people who are in prison are not the people who did this to me. So while they want to be very angry and hate the people who are in prison for me, they also are very scared that the people who were actually involved in this, who actually did this to me, are out there.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. What would you like to say about that?
Justice will always come. And I want my family to know that I have protected them and they have nothing to fear. Learn your lessons and understand that this is not a one-time life deal. I am here.
Did you choose to leave at this time?
No, it was not my exit point.
Oh, how does that work? How does that happen if it wasn't your exit point?
My free will was taken from me when I was put in that van. My exit point was going to be something different. The fact that they had done so much mutilation to my body and I was in so much shock that when I gave and surrendered in and let go, my counsel and myself decided that there were going to be other lessons for my family and for humanity and the bigger picture of what we were now given as an opportunity. It was allowed. It was
allowed?
It was reluctantly allowed.
It was reluctantly allowed? Can you tell me more about that?
People will learn that people who are in prison can also be innocent. And so the bigger picture was always going to be greater than the impact of my family and all families involved. And so when we decide, this is not just me speaking now, this is a collective. When decisions are decided about changing people's exit points, there is always a weight. And if you want to have an analogy of a scale, so there is all the good and all the bad, and we know that there is no such thing as good or bad. but you understand that we have to weigh up the balances, the pros and the cons. The pros of having this case be so well publicized is going to open up humanity's awareness, potentially, that there are people in jail who shouldn't be. And we had to live episode by episode by episode into that to be able to see for ourselves. Justice really gets served. So there was bigger picture. It was more impact for humanity, an opportunity for humanity to grow collectively together. And we want to say to you that this is exactly the same as Benet Ramsey. And why this happened as well is that it's all lessons for humanity to see these terrible acts happen, and mysteries and crimes against humanity. And the bigger messages here are for everyone to learn from. Jean Benet's lesson for humanity was that the sexualization of children in pageants really had to be questioned, and the industry needed to be questioned, and also the morals of what do we really judge as being important and special. Pageantry is not a healthy sport for one's mental health and for one's self appreciation. It never nurtures self-love. It just forms competitiveness, and not such a great industry for where we would like humanity to focus on. And then for Theresa's experience and for what the collective needed to grow and learn from that is that we can be taken with our free will somewhere else and be in harm's way. Theresa learned that she needed to use her intuition more, and she didn't. Understands that now. She was so on the dog, she did not sense that she was actually going to be the one in the place of the dog.
Oh, so did she get that intuition?
She totally didn't, and now she knows. And this is what she has said to Joanne in the conversation, was that her intuition, she didn't trust her gut. She should have trusted her gut. She felt something was weird and brewing the morning of. She didn't know. She assumed it was just because she thought that Steve was a little bit of a, she felt a bit judgy. She just,
Who's Steve?
Steve, the man she went to take a photograph of the car.
Oh, okay.
She wasn't wanting to go out that far, and she was so busy. She took on the job. She didn't understand her gut intuition. She actually thought she had like maybe upset stomach. And so she kind of just thought, it's just the pressure of the day, and she just threw it aside. And so now she realizes, and what she wants people to know is that she wants people to understand that feeling, that gut feeling, it's not because you've had a weird lunch or you're getting panic anxiety or anything like that. It is your intuition to ask you to stop and sense and be aware you need to be on higher alert. And so that was a greater message for humanity back then, was to listen to your own gut. And Joanne listened to what she had to say, and that's why when she started doing these sessions, she really wanted her clients to sense what good intuition feels like and what warning intuition feels like. She was a little bit, we want to say with love, obsessed with really empowering her clients to really get their own intuition on track, because we needed that. People need that.
Can you tell me how to do that? What's the best way to really understand what your intuition is saying?
Some people have intuition in their gut, and some people have it in their heads, and some people have it in their hearts. It's a trigger. It's a sense. It's an inner knowing. And so if you're out of balance, you may feel it in different ways. I wish I could say to everyone who wants to listen to this where their exact intuition key is, but it feels tingly. A lot of people misdiagnose it themselves with having anxiety because it's so powerful. And so it is a sense. It's a sense, and we're so disconnected with learning our body messages that we get lost in the confusion, and we rush to our doctors who are idiots who know nothing about the body, really. And we say this with mocking love, and you'll understand that soon. So anxiety needs to be relabeled and understood. The feelings of anxiety and not what you think.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. So when you get the gut feeling, the anxiousness, the tightness, it is panic that starts. The person starts feeling this gut intuition, and then they go, oh no, have I eaten something? Oh no, I'm afraid. Oh, something's going to happen to my body. Something's going to happen to my body. Oh no, oh no, no. And they go into this shutdown, and we've just exaggerated it a little bit more. And then, but this is to explain to people who have never had anxiety or what it feels like. And so there's nothing to be afraid. Your bodies are fine. When we give you these messages, we want you to, instead of panic, please stop, go within, ask, what am I here to know? What is the message here? What am I supposed to do? Please trust the first thing that comes to your mind. It may be maybe one word, or it may be another sense. Go with it. Trust your gut intuition and ask yourself, what am I to learn from this?
That's beautiful. Thank you. And you said trust the first thought that comes to your mind?
Absolutely. And it will take time to learn that, because your consciousness and ego want to dismiss everything when it doesn't come from self. The conscious and ego wants to be the king, and it is cute and sweet, and it helps you most times. But unfortunately, it is only a human consciousness and only a human ego. We give you the very first answer when you seek answers from us. We are, with love, a little bit more wiser and a little bit more like a perspective. So when we answer your questions, please trust it's the first thing that you need to focus on.
Okay, so when we ask what's going on, say you have anxiety and you say to yourself, what's going on with me? It's the first thought that pops into your mind.
Yes.
And then is that it?
Then you act on the first thing. That is what we say. So if we say to you, an example of be more cautious, focus, look, hear, whatever we give you, and you can focus on it. It may not be a straight away immediate fear thing. It may be just us wanting your attention.
Oh, okay. But in Theresa's situation, what should she have done?
She should have paid attention to the situation and seen that there was bad intent in these men's agenda. They came straight for her. They did not attend the dog. Her compassion for animals was a distraction. And, she sees that now. She can understand that she should have gone with them, and potentially what she wants to do in her next lifetime is be able to have more intuition and be more connected spiritually. The family she chose this lifetime did limit their belief systems for that. And so she was guided to not truly believe them, and there was a little bit of indoctrination to be distracted from the spirituality world. She had a little bit of fear of going in and didn't quite understand that all the answers are within. And so when you ask for guidance from a God, for example, the true issue with that is that most human egos and consciousnesses never actually feel honored, never feel important, never feel like they are worthy of having God see them. And so,
interesting.
is what Theresa had this belief. She had sinned, she had told a lie, she had felt jealousy, she had been a normal human, and her inner child, when she was growing up, she had a belief system that she had done wrong to God.
Oh.
So that instantly removed people's beliefs that they are worthy of having a direct connection.
I see. Is it okay to ask her more about how she passed, to get more details? So there was Scott, she said, was there. That was he the main person?
There was two people that were doing the dismembering of the body, and there was.
Did they kill her first?
No.
Okay. Did she suffer?
Extremely.
Okay. I see.
She knew that there was a point where she just was not able to survive this, and so she surrendered and she was taken from her body, but she did suffer tremendously. She fought. She did not want to go this way, and by the time she surrendered, and this is a lesson it's very important to hear this. If something is happening to your body and you're fighting it, then the more damage that happens to your body, the less chance you will be able to. This is confusing. We are going to say the more you struggle and stay in the body, and the more damage that happens to your body, the harder it is for it to be undone. We're saying to Joanne, and she's confused here, it's like
the more you struggle and resist.
The more you struggle and resist and stay in the body, the more damage that's done to the body, the less chance you can go back into the body. When you pull yourself out of your body, then it's like you can go back in time to it, but it doesn't make sense, and it was never the situation that was possible for Theresa. But we're showing Joanne.
Why was it not?
Because she was so dismembered.
Okay.
Doing to her body was not appropriate, and then because when she connected to her counsel, they weighed up what the pros and cons of this horrific tragedy for her and her family, what that was going to teach humanity.
Okay. So the more you resist and struggle with what's happening with your body, the more harm and the harder it is for you to go back into your body. How do you leave your body if something like that is happening? Or how do you let go of resistance?
It's all individual for different people. People do need to learn lessons for experiencing harder deaths. We can only talk about Theresa's situation because we want to answer for everyone. Which doesn't help, so we were trying to define it down. There was no possibility of Theresa then going back into the body before as it was happening, the council were already convening and they could see the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Our higher self and subconscious were there and they could already see it, and they were waiting for her to leave the body. So by the time she came and connected with her team, they already could see that it was going to be the appropriate outcome because of the lessons that people could learn and grow from it. So that was already their view before she even was aware of it. And she had to understand and see it too from that aspect, unfortunately.
I see. I see. What would she like to tell humanity about her death?
It sucks. It's like so frustrating. And then just, I can see it, can see the lessons. I can see the lessons for humanity. And yeah, it is not good what happened to me, but it's also not good that these people's are being imprisoned for crimes that they haven't made. Yes, there's a lot of people who are in prison for crimes they did do, but there's also a lot of people in prison and have been in prison because of corrupt systems. Corruption is really the lesson that people should learn about my demise, which is...
What do you want people to know about corruption?
That it exists at all levels, in all industry.
Did the police in the show, it seemed the police planted the DNA? Is that what happened?
Yes. Yes.
Do you know who?
There is truth in that documentary. The people who are led to look like they used to be the ones that have planted the evidence is true. They did plant the evidence for their egos. They have issues with the family. They are entitled. They have a lot of issues. They're misusing their positions. They are exactly the people who shouldn't be in control of people.
Will the 2 people that are in prison for your murder get out anytime soon?
Not before the shift.
Can you tell me more about that? They will get out after?
Humanity changes afterwards.
Oh. So what happens to those 2 people after?
Feel like the being Steve goes somewhere else. His greater lessons were somewhere else.
Like is in a different what do you mean somewhere else?
I feel like he doesn't have a home planet. He'll go to the other planets that are housing other beings. Seems like he doesn't have a home planet anymore.
Why is that?
It exploded.
Oh, why did it explode?
The planet wasn't viable anymore.
Oh, okay. Is this a planet that we've heard about before?
Remnants of it are around Jupiter's ring.
Oh, okay. And what about the young boy that was in prison? Well, now he's an adult. What about him? Will he be free?
He is different for a purpose. people need to see that how vulnerable people who are different are, and how humanity needs to see spectrumed people as different. Doesn't feel like he will go to New Earth either. He feels like he then also is a different being who belongs on a different planet, and it feels like he will go to his home planet and explain his experiences. He will not go in his body that he is in now. He will go and connect his soul essence to his higher self or subconscious. I'm unsure.
Okay. Okay. Was this in both of their contracts to go to prison like this?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So if it wasn't for Theresa's murder, was it going to be for someone else's then?
It was. It was going to be the case that Steve needed to have all of his life history to build up the example of the corruption of the legal system. So it wasn't going to be as impactful. We have the sense that if it wasn't Theresa, it could have been something else. But his life purpose was to prove again and again and again how corrupt the systems are. Unfortunately, he had to be a white male, to be able to connect to the audience of the white males, to be able to make them feel like potentially it could have been them. That was the audience targeted there. The other racial dominations, they are already well aware that this is a case, but for the lessons that humanity needed to learn is that it can also happen to white folk too.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Is there anything else that seems important or interesting about this case?
People do know the truth about it, but when it comes to your own family, you're so closed off minded, you don't want to see it, and you don't want it to get out, and there is a lot of people hurting about this case. And unfortunately, because of the attention given to the case, well, it's good in one hand because people are learning from it who would never have heard about it. The actual people who are playing the roles in this scenario, it's heavily impacting on them.
I see. What would you like to say about that?
Everything has a lesson and a purpose. And the more you do your own work, the more you understand the bigger picture of what's happening to humanity, you'll understand that it is all okay. And while Theresa is hurting for her family in one sense, she also knows that after humanity's shift and everyone understands more profoundly what it actually is, to what game you're all playing, it will be all okay. The lessons are hard, but they are good, important lessons too, for everyone, even if they don't know it yet.
What happens to us when we learn lessons? How do we accumulate lessons? What does that do to our soul?
It expands our understanding of what humans, the complexity to their emotions, the emotions that they have, are very interesting, and so we learn and grow from it. I want to say that it's almost like we have, I guess you could say, a USB stick, and for our soul, and all on that USB stick is all of these scenarios of lessons and emotions, all of the ranges of emotions. Just like one color has many different shades, one emotion has many different levels. You can be happy a million times in different ways. And so as we learn all the different ways of being happy, as we learn all the different ways to be sad, as we learn all the different ways to have all our emotions, we collect them and put them in that memory stick, and we have that access of information for our soul to learn from and understand. And it is just, it really doesn't mean anything truly impactful to our soul as such, because our soul is just a great energy. It's just information. At the end of the day, it is really not significant, as weird as it sounds. It's just another learning thing, just like what does colour mean for us right now? You know that colour has vibration, you know that colour has significance and importance, but when you see it with your 3D mindset and your 3D body, it's just colour. There's no importance to it. You see colour all the time and there's no significance. And it's the same with emotions. When you have the full memory stick of the emotions of it all, it's just, you understand it and it's complexity. But for your greater soul, there is really no significance of learning. It's just harder to explain.
Well, if someone like Theresa and John Benet went through what they went through, are there any benefits or anything that will help them in their next life because of this type of life, this tragic life? How does that help them or benefit them?
Well, it was experiencing different types. They hadn't killed before. They hadn't been killed before, I wanted to say. And so about learning profoundly. We can hear about these murders and we can assume you know all about that emotionally, but when you're involved in that, you understand what that feels like, and potentially they needed to learn that potentially because they had impacted someone else in that way, or because they wanted to experience it. In the case of Theresa, she didn't put that on her contract. She didn't say, yes, please, I would like to die that way. That sounds fabulous. No, not at all, unfortunately. But she also is, she also can appreciate it. She also can help the souls who have also been tragically killed. She has great compassion for people and she can understand their level of shock. So when other souls are struggling to understand in the healing space, she's there for them and comforts them profoundly.
Oh, that's wonderful. What does she do on the other side?
Waits for justice, waits for humanity to wake up. And she also can support other beings who are still stuck in shock and trauma. She has done tremendous healing. There's a real incredible testament to her bigger soul that she could absorb this and take it with stride, even though she still has great compassion and concern for her family, because she's still connected to them. She doesn't want to sever the emotions that she has with them. She still wants to be with them closer to help them. So part of her is still in this plane with them more than she could. So she has crossed over, but she is still also very present. She doesn't want to fully cross over because she still wants to connect. In some level, I see a split of her soul essences have gone, but a part of her there, so she can still it's important for her family to feel her, because she wants to help them waken up and realize that she hasn't gone. And she is trusting that they will trust their senses enough to know that she is physically present with them. And so she's also helping them. She's really wanting them to go with them, and you know, she just wants them to wake up and understand that this is definitely more than just one life here.
That's beautiful. And you said she's done some healing on the other side. Can you tell me more about how you do healing on the other side? How does a soul heal after they've gone through a tragic event like that?
And it's taking we want to say in quotation marks, time to just see the bigger picture and explore where the people who have done such events, where they got to. So you're exploring, we're showing Joanne an image of being in the library, and you're in one of those you're at those little machines, and you're seeing all the blueprints of someone's life. And so the essences of Theresa's soul is literally flicking through the lives of these people that have done this to her, to understand them more and to understand what triggered them to do that. And
what did trigger them? Sorry to interrupt you.
It's fine. They were also physically abused. They were beaten. There was weird sexual things happening with their mothers. They're not related, but they had very similar growing ups where they were physically beaten. And for Theresa's soul, she had to see that they were broken themselves. They weren't perfectly normal people just doing outrageous things one day. They were very broken themselves, and so she had to see that and experience that, to have compassion and understanding and see the bigger picture of it. And you can't just shake it off and heal and forgive without profoundly going through the slides of their lives and understanding all of that. And you then feel compassionate about the people that have done this to you, and then you feel so compassionate about them, you want to find out what caused the person to abuse your abuser. And so then you trawl through and you look at all of that and you understand, and you just, by doing that healing and research, you actually do then see the bigger picture of humanity. You do understand, goodness, this is cyclical, and this is a humanity, and you basically just learn going backwards and exploring the history of man and seeing where it's all gone. This can happen in a nanosecond of time, but it also can take a longer time as well. So it'll work simultaneously, but the soul learns and grows by going backwards and seeing what's happened to individuals.
Thank you so very much. Is there anything else you want to say about that at all?
No, just that it's all okay and that everything happens for the greater good of humanity, even though it looks weird and scary sometimes and so heartbreaking when we know that people are really struggling and not able to see the bigger picture. And I just send love to all the families impacted by this, all of the families that have been impacted by injustices. We know it's an interesting, important lesson to learn and to experience, but also it is a very hard one. So we want to tip the scales a little bit more, add more love, forgiveness and acceptance, and trust that there is bigger purpose there.
It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. You were saying that humanity is supposed to wake up. If you scan humanity, What does it look like as if humanity is waking up? I mean, what do
Absolutely.
you see?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We want to tell you that there is a lot of people in the spiritual closet hiding, secretly wanting to come out. They're going to plan their coming out of the closet party in their spirituality world. They burst out with flares and tie-dye t-shirts and like lots of peace rings and, you know, well, out of this, that they're just ready to burst into the scenes. But really what they do is they kind of creep open the door and they look around the corners and they take that first step and they almost want to say, I'm here, world. I know spirituality exists. Don't think I'm crazy. So there is much more people awake, and that they keep that card very close to their chests. They don't want to bounce out of the closet and announce their spiritually awakenedness, because it is step by step. You have to sense there's something more and just digest that and then grow and get interested. And the whole part of locking people down and giving them some time out in their rooms to binge watch lots of nonsense, but also to get bored of that and actually want to start thinking. And so they've started for a positive tool, and they are starting to find spiritual leaders, spiritual messages, and a whole lot of other stuff, which has just been waiting there for people to start binging on and opening up more questions. They'll take a big bite of the spirituality apple, go away, digest it, nibble some more, and it's just growing. And we want to say to you the percentage of people that actually are aware that there is more spirituality, aware of spirituality. There first needed to be a big distinction between religion and spirituality, because a lot of people still are traumatized by religion in some way. So they have to separate the spirituality from the religion. And so they have that big hurdle first. And now that they're starting to embrace themselves as spiritual, they keep that very tight. But we do say to you that there is much more than you think. Consciously or unconsciously, there is, now we're going to say at least 70% of humanity is actually aware on some degree that there are spiritual lessons there and that we are more than we think we are. So it's impossible for humanity not to be awakened with all of the energy that is happening and occurring, that the conscious mind is so connected to the subconscious and to the higher selves. You just now need to question whether spirituality is real for you to get a sense of, yes, there is something more there.
You were saying there's lots of, go ahead. You were saying there's lots of energy around. Can you tell me more about that?
Mm-hmm. So as the earth is ready to start her reincarnation, there is a lot of energy that is being poured down onto her to help her grow and to help her own ascension process. And so there is a lot of beings to help her with this, and they are using their own energy fields, their own sources of energy. We say ships are coming from around the universe with their crystal-like energy, with a whole lot of other devices, tools, energy tools, and they've come onto the stratosphere of and around the planet at this time. And they have been here for a long time, but they have come here now to bring their light and their energy onto the earth. And as you know, there has been many beings here who have been placing grids of energy around the planet. This is how we connect. We've all planted down lots of anchor points, and the volunteers, of course, have come in to help. And so there is lots of energy being transmuted down to the planet for her, the earth, and also for humanity as they shift with her.
Is there anything a human needs to do during this time to help, or to help themselves, help others?
We so think it's cute that you humans still think you can do things to help. Of course you can. Of course you can. But it is about self. Be selfish. This is your time to be selfish. We give so much. We do so much. You need to trust we're here and trust we're doing everything we can to help, because we are helping. It's just a moment, just a short moment of time before things do trigger to help with the ascension. So you can stop eating the naughty foods that you feed your inner child with. You can do the mindfulness. You all know this. You do love each other as an extension of self, and trust that all is well. All will be well, and be patient. We almost want to say to you with love, we're almost sick of you saying, are we there yet? And we say this to
That's wonderful. Why is it important to eat healthy foods?
because it keeps, because the unhealthy foods are sugar, and sugar is actually inflammation for your brain. It makes you feel like shit, because it is shit food. And so it's not so good. It doesn't feed you. It takes from you in so many different ways. And so we want you to maintain healthy balances. Your body is a machine. It's such a beautiful machine, and it's got such great power. And you really don't need much food at all. It's just a habit that you've all formed, a bad social habit, feeling like you're connecting with each other by having a family meal turns into nightmare emotions, tragedies, and a whole lot of dramas. And we say, if you're going to respect food, you should do it as a private affair. You don't poo with your family, and you shouldn't eat with your family.
Oh, I love it. So what happens to a person if they eat really healthy foods? How does that change them during this time?
Right. So it keeps them positive. A lot of people are having sleep challenges with sleeping. It's more water. If you really want to do something, drink good amounts of water, and limit the heavy foods, and eat the raw foods. But also, it doesn't really matter now. It doesn't matter if you binge and eat meat and do anything like that. There is nothing, at this point, there is nothing that's going to really make a difference to the body, because the body will change after the ascension, and it's no big deal now.
Is there anything you want to say about that?
The body has been upgrading for so long that when the transition happens, it just feels like you're just removing a cloak. It's graceful and easy, and people are afraid of losing their bodies. I mean, you don't lose it, it's already within you, but it's literally taking one shell off.
So it sounds like it's a simple process then. Or is it scary at all?
It's scary when you are not aware of what's happening. There is discomfort and pain to it because you go into shock. So there's a little bit of things that have happened to it. It just depends. Just depends on a whole lot of your mindset. If you're still attached to the 3D, a lot of people will have heart attacks because they feel like they are having heart attacks. they think that so they will induce a heart attack. The shock of it will be great, and so they will struggle with it, but they will all be fine as soon as the actual transition happens and they realize what has happened. But it will be.
What's the best way for a person not to be in shock? What's the easiest way for a person to transition?
Trust that it will be perfectly fine as soon as they release. The importance of the conversation we had about Theresa was she stuck onto the body because she didn't want to let go of the body. This is time for you all to get used to losing the body. You are not the body. The body is merely a cloak for your soul right now, for your soul essences right now. So it is not important, even though we feel like that's our identity, because it physically is in this existence. It is not your true essence.
What happens to the old earth? What about the people that stay on the old earth?
Destruction. They will see destruction. They will see mass loss. They will be in their own state of hell. They will see natural disasters. They will be angry. They will be in shock. It's all of the what you call negative emotions set on high. It will not be and fun, but they will learn from it. They will understand it, the bigger picture there on the other side. Potentially these are beings who have caused great damage and great chaos to many other beings and many other civilizations. So this is almost a karma. We say this with amusement, but it will all make sense. And these are just beautiful lessons for everyone, even the hard ones.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to say about that?
You will not be staying on the old earth.
Well, the people that are about to shift and go to the new earth, do they have the feeling that they will do so intuitively at all?
They will feel that there is something they need to be doing. They will feel like it's almost like they're running late. They keep wondering what's this urgency, what's this, where they're going. Some will feel that way, that there is like this impatientness, and some will also feel like they're done, and they are just done with everything, and they're really struggling. The emotions, they're stuck. They're supposed to already have the 5D mindset, but they're stuck in the 4D of knowing all the crimes against humanity and not seeing the bigger picture. The next few months will be big for them, and we want to say that all of the people still in the spiritual closet will pick their toes out and will connect and confide with their besties, and they will find if they don't have besties who are also slowly coming out of that spirituality closet, they will go and hide in some spiritual Facebook groups. Be a stalker, lurker, and learn. And that will give them the confidence to be able to not physically come out publicly, but also to be able to go within and grow. So this spirituality, the reason why people are worried that there are so many people that are, they say humanity's not awoke. No one's awake. Hardly anyone's awake. It's not true. It's not true at all. People do not publicly go out in their spirituality cloaks. So they are hiding. They know who they are. They know what they're wanting to learn, but they won't discuss it. No one discusses their masturbation, and no one discusses their spirituality. It's private. It's sensory for them, and it's exploring them. It's so personal.
That's so funny.
Joe, incredibly
interesting. What did you say?
Joanne's incredibly embarrassed we see that.
That's awesome. I love it. You just got to say it like it is.
But we use masturbation as most people do it, but no one's posts a meme about it on Facebook. And so if your friends are they're not posting memes on spirituality, doesn't mean that they're not feverishly doing it at home. And
Oh my God, I love it. That's a really good analogy, though. That's really helpful because it's good to know that there are a lot more people waking up than we would see on Facebook. So that's good reassurance.
And so that's people is that they feel like they don't see it publicly as much. They may see a few quirky friends that are just really out there, and they just must be hippies, and they're just, out there. And while those people are publicly sharing this word positive, honest, good spirituality information, while a lot of people are learning and growing from that tremendously, much more than even the poster actually knows, the viewers would literally prefer to share a video of themselves masturbating on their to the than have to share something about Save the Children, 3D, 5D, New Earth, Incarnation. You know the list.
Yeah.
So we want to say to you, without a doubt, much more people are aware of spirituality and the meaning and what's going to happen a lot more than we think. And so, and even the people who are going to stay behind in the old earth, they also are aware of this, but they are so negative, they're so broken. So we want to say evil, but there is no such thing. But the analogy was saying, they also know about spirituality, but they will not believe it because they are angry with the world, and they are just the really, really unfortunate, really chosen the very hard lifetimes for them. So we just are concerned right now for the people who are still sort of stuck, who kind of haven't been able to move on from something. They potentially have been abused in childhood, and so the understanding of the children and the pedophilia rings, and then the dumps and the whole lot of horrible crimes of children. For a lot of people who have not wanted to deal with their own childhood abuse, this is a trigger for them. And so while they do want to grow and understand, they're having to do the harder inner work. And unfortunately, most ways of therapy is not helpful, and they don't understand how to quickly heal from that. And also not just from this lifetime, but other past lifetimes where they have been abused. And so that this all impacts. And so someone may try and heal this lifetime of trauma and abuse, but they have this other hidden emotions and issues that still haven't been tapped into. So this work is so important for that, and you know that.
I do. So this work would help them